in behavioral science and business psychology by CV University. He is having rich experience of both corporates and business schools and organizations under Dr. Moite, CMMA Business Mentoring, serving on practical based through experience, sharing methods to total workforce with applied solutions to the needy organizations in the country and globe. And with this, the accomplishments of Sir are enlisted a lot. With this, I welcome you, sir, to today's session.
Thank you.
And I now will be introducing our next guest, Dr. Rushali Raut. She is an organizational psychologist with 15 plus years of work experience, predominantly in IT sector. Her doctoral work revolves around mental health of IT professionals. She regularly writes in Marathi to create awareness on the topic mental health in the workplaces. She has been a guest speaker to various HR and technology forums, including OHR, ISTD, and PMI India. She was featured on All India Radio, DD Shayadri, and she is a regular video blogger for Max Maharashtra. Her latest book on Kam Karanche, Mansik Arogya, was published on 10th October in Pune. With this, I would also like to welcome our speaker for today, Dr. Rushali Raut.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. After introducing our guests, I would like to hand over the screen to Popat Rao, sir. But before that, I request all the participants to please stay on mute throughout the session. You can unmute yourself at the end during the Q&A session. But if you have any questions during the session, please type them in the chat box. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Skriti. Thank you. Wonderful introduction to both of us. Good evening, one and all. Friends, today we are in a different mode and different area where the first time we are conducting such program through OHR. We normally do in a colleges book review activity, but here we have a writer and who is going to talk about her book and whatever she basically thought about the book and the entire journey while writing the book, she is going to focus with her own experiences, whatever she has so far in her career. Friends, let us have that opportunity to understand workers' mental approach and ability through her, with her simplification of that particular writing, whatever she done in Kamgarache Manasik Arogya. That is what workers or employees' mental health. That is a very wonderful book. Just I got before 1 hour in my hand. And I'm very thankful, Rushali. Yeah, it's a coincidence that I am just reading with the cover of it, but inside definitely I will peep and I will try to have that more and more interactive session. Friend, this session will go for 1 hour, but my request all of you, after our session, I request you to have many more questions where Rushali ma'am definitely will answer. If there is a need, definitely I will have a little bit intervention according to the situation. So before going, let me brief very little about what actually the workers' approach and attitudes towards their life process. As we are talking about the psychology nothing but it's a science of mind and behavior. And here we are going to see practically that how it is related with the industrial psychology. There are basically two fundamental things and important things that one, understand the behavior of performance of the task that is of the people in working set. And then second, that how they becoming effective, satisfied, fulfilled, and rewarded. That is a very, very important area where even Rushali will also focus during her basically the session. And how these outcomes can be maintained and to how to study the organization can be sustained and developed. So with this particular thought note, I will start to talk with, lively and practically with our today's writer, young and thinking a lot about the future, very fantastically, not only the country, but about the entire globe concerning with our workers or employees mental health. Yes, this is what very, very key area where in India we are neglecting, but where she has absolutely fantastic way she has crafted the things in Marathi. But I request before starting the session, ma'am, please come in English. That will be the right things for you, and the global will be for you, ma'am. So with the first question, ma'am, please tell us to all our audience here that what motivated you to write the book and what basically made you to be with that thought process with us all together with your book, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Okay, so before I begin my question and answer session, I am very thankful to OHR Group, specifically Mr. Prashant Ithape, because he has been very kind when, very few people around me in industry supported me in my journey about creating awareness on this particular topic. So I'm very grateful to them. They have played a really important role, in boosting my confidence. So thank you, OHR team, and thank you to Dr. Mohite also for taking out time and giving some of his resources and time to this particular interview. It's very interesting journey, I would say, and I now believe in you can say destiny or fortune, because I did not plan anything, whatever happening with me at present. I never planned for it. So when I decided to do my doctoral degree, it was my guide, Mrs. Rubina Ansari, Dr. Rubina Ansari. She also happens to be my teacher at PG level. So she actually suggested this topic in 2010. And she was quite confident that this will go ahead. So I'm very thankful to her, Dr. Rubina Ansari, who is my PhD guide. And that's how I started my journey. Very, I would say I was very doubtful. I was not at all confident about what I'm going to do. But when I started working on my doctoral thesis in 2011, I guess, slowly I pick up the subject, and something which I also written in my book, I would like to share on this platform, that my father was in a government job, and when I was in my graduation, he had lost his job suddenly. So he was removed from his job without any intimation, and he never got any benefits like pension or all the benefits one receive as a government employee. And it was a shock for my family. I'm a single child, and fortunately my mother had a good job, so we could survive. Then there is another incident in my family again. So similar thing happened with a person close to me. I have already written that in my book in introduction part. So these two incidents actually impacted my life, in a very not positive way, definitely. And that's why I could relate to people, who are even currently, there's some issue with MSRTC, state ST employees are going on. So how it feels when a person suddenly loses his or her job, somebody who is married, somebody who's having kids, and what happens to his or her family, what happens to the future of his or her kids, how it impacts sudden job loss specifically. And scientists have discovered that sudden job loss triggers stress response, which is 100%. So a person who is losing his or her job suddenly at any age experience 100% stress, which is like, there are certain incidents, just like death of a parent or death of your spouse or partner. So where a person experiences 100% stress, same happens when a person loses his or her job suddenly. It could be anything, termination, you call it suspension, you call it layoff, but it happens. And So I think everything, whatever happened with me on personal level, and then I, pick up this subject, and whatever journey happened, it was, I guess, kind of a destiny. And now I realize that, at least through my experience, I am able to, connect with people. I'm able to help people. And this is something very sincere effort. I don't claim it to be a perfect one. It's a sincere effort from my side based on my experience, training, and my observation. And when, like I said, I work on my PhD from 2011 to 2014. Then again, fortunately, I got an opportunity, which is one of its kind in India, I would say, in Siemens PLM Software, Pune. So one of the business groups in Siemens PLM Software hired me in a special role. It's like you see chief people officer or chief, belief officer or chief heart officer kind of a role nowadays. But they created a role which was not in HR, and it happened in 2014 November. There again, I did not plan anything when I entered the organization, because it was completely new thing. But again, fortunately, I somehow managed to get a good amount of funding from the Diversity Council of Siemens PLM office, USA. And that's how I started, experimenting with well-being programs. I started implementing well-being programs like physical well-being, emotional well-being. And that is something what I studied in my PhD. And that you see these programs specifically in UK, organizations in UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand. But again, it was destiny that I could, implement my thesis in Siemens. For 4.5 years, I worked there. And again, based on that experience, whatever I gained as a psychologist in a full-time role, as an industrial psychologist in a full-time role with a IT company, and my PhD experience, of course, personal experience, I it was very, I would say it was very obvious to write a book and come up with something which will be helpful as a first step. So I have mentioned, first step. It's a first step. So nobody had, so now, people definitely should go ahead and explore the subject. We are 140 crores. We need more occupational health psychologists, more and more occupational health psychologists, good industrial organizational psychologists for this particular topic.
Madam, taking to your description and explanation, I would like to put another very, very important question, is that why industrial psychology is important in the business world today, and how you look as a writer, as you have written very nicely, crafted the things in your book, but as a practical young HRs are here, senior HRs are here. So that what way you would like to connect this particular subject with the business world according to your perspective, especially because you work in foreign countries, you work in India. So as you have explained that also in your Siemens, where you just tried with a number of different activities, and it led you towards particularly writing the book. But as a writer, how you look towards industrial psychology from business perspective, madam, please.
Okay, so this is a very interesting and important question, because industrial psychology or organizational psychology, as you very well know, is something which is out of focus in last couple of years. You see all HR and management, MPM, MBM kind of people, or even people from MSW labor degrees. But we, at least I have not come across a lot of, good industrial psychologists. Like if you name someone from foreign countries, there are so many. Sir Cary Cooper is a very famous name. The most famous name, I would say. He's someone who is 75 plus, and he's from UK and is a pioneer in organizational psychology, specifically mental health or well-being in the workplaces. But what happened in India? So what I see a trend in last 20 years, because I'm a science graduate, and early 2000 I passed out, and it was a trend in my college time, 2001 2002, that people should go for MPM, MBA, MCA, MCM, and it was all about earning money. It was all about building organizations, achieving targets. So somehow, industrial psychology took a backseat. Okay, and I passed out in 2006, and when I came to Pune in 2006 June, I guess, I could not find a proper job for me, with the training of industrial psychology. So this whole decade, or two decades, you can say, 2000 to 2020, they're all driven by profits. They're all driven by a target achievement. They're all driven by some records, numbers, going to space. People are, but when they are going to space, they don't understand that there are people who are, even can't feed themselves, at least a day. So the hunger is, or the poverty part, or the unemployment part is on sharp rise. But on the other side, there are billionaires, very few billionaires, who are controlling the wealth of the global level, or even in the country also. So this gap, how it happened? It happened because they were hungry for numbers. They were hungry for records. They were hungry for some kind of achievement. It was all achievement driven. They never thought about well-being, which is kind of an alien concept in India. They never thought about balance. They never thought about, people who cannot survive, or who do not have that kind of ambition or aspiration. Not everybody wants to be Elon Musk, or not everybody wants to be, working in Google or Amazon. There are people who are average, and most of the people are average. But nobody thought about those average, public. And that's how industrial psychology took a backseat. MBA and MPM people, management people specifically, overpowered industrial psychology. And in India, I don't know many colleges who are teaching industrial psychology. Even my university closed industrial, no college, Department of Psychology and Hislop. There were two good colleges, but they have closed the course itself. Okay, so now there are so many MBA colleges, so many MPM colleges you see in Pune and across India. But now during COVID, they all realize that only management, the dry management is not what you can say useful. During COVID, employers and employee both understood, hopefully, about emotions they go through, about difficult situations at work. Everything is not goody. Chal raha hai, like chal raha hai. No. And that's how this demand for industrial psychology again, it's gone up. And that's how even people started noticing my work. Frankly, I was completely ignored. I was one of a kind, job profile I was having 3-4 years back only. But I was completely ignored, and nobody actually took me seriously 1.5 years back. But then lockdown happened, and then I started writing, just for passing time in lockdown, first lockdown. And I started then writing a blog, and I started getting attention. And
Madam,
yes.
Very fantastically you have explained, but having the further thought and the way you basically putting the things very properly. So let me have that continuity with the thought of you that, as you rightly pointed out, the pandemic period or the COVID-19 made us all together awake and aware about the mental health. Absolutely fact, no doubt of it. So continuing with this particular thought, what is the key role of present HR while dealing with the various challenges related to the health during pandemic and post-pandemic, according to you, ma'am? So how these all HR, present HR, who are basically listening to us, will definitely get a right direction to handling such type of unpredictable things is about to happen. Even biological war is going to take place forever now. it is but mine by because of, some power attitude countries who would like to be with that thing. So ma'am, how do you see that how today's HR will see and deal and handle this particular health issues like a pandemic, Yes, ma'am, please.
So HR today is having, I guess, the toughest time, specifically in the last 1.5 years, because they're wearing so many hats. So they never thought they would have to deal with, emotions, turbulent emotions, difficult emotions of employees, and a situation where they never trained for. They never received training for this kind of a situation. Nobody, not even psychologists. So I have read an article where they had written that HR had a very difficult time while dealing with employees' issues, and since people were living under fear of death, fear of job loss, and companies were changing their policies, and it was all online. So yes, HR had a very difficult time, and now I guess HR must have understood, at least up to a certain extent, the importance of employee health, both physical health and mental health. And
it means that you are indirectly contributing us with your thought process that every HR now has to be a psychologist or meant to be with that particular understanding of the psyche of the worker. Am I right, ma'am?
So that is by default. If they are having or carrying title of HR, human resource management, or human resource executive, they are by default, should be able to understand employee psyche. Okay. I hope HR is getting what I'm trying to say here, because I was also in HR for 8.5 years. I have done extensive recruitment in IT. I have done HR journalist profile also. So I know how HR is specifically IT HR, if you're asking me, because manufacturing HR, like Prashant Dithape sir is there, Sarfaraz sir is there. So that is totally different, and I have a very good experience with manufacturing non-IT HR. But with IT HR, they have a different world. Okay, and now hopefully they understand that money is not something that can keep people going for a long run. It has to be more than that. It has to be, it has to be emotions. It has to be attachment. It has to be leadership, and different style of engagement. Different style of engagement.
As you rightly pointed out, the engagement of word. So there is a buzzword, you say employment engagement, right? No, employee engagement. The fantastic word is coming. They are taking gathering, they are taking, cultural activities and not many things and making people engage. Do you think that engagement and mental engagement having a different approach and altogether? So can you focus on the mental engagement of the people practically with this organization and belongingness towards love and respect among the employee? What you think from that perspective, madam, please?
Sir, that should be the core of any organization, treating people with respect. So, when you don't do that, and no matter what kind of, engagement, dance and parties you do, your employees will be always stressed out. So that's the core area of focus, and that I see in manufacturing.
Yeah. It is happening in manufacturing. It is happening. As I know that my son is also HR. And he's also, earlier he'd done a lot of CSR activity and all together. So fantastic, madam. So how do you look CSR activity to boost this particular health mental activity of society as well as the organization, ma'am?
So CSR is necessary. It is good. But what I have been studying and observing in terms of HR growth, I would say, in abroad countries, they have kept it separated, like HR, organizational psychologist or organizational behavior expert, and CSR. So that should not be mixed. So OB experts or occupational health psychology expert, because we still haven't touched the point of occupational health or occupational hazards, which we have National Occupational Health. In India, it's in Ahmedabad, I guess. There are 2 organizations which are taking care. but I don't see necessary work is being done from both of these organizations. They do occupational health safety part only for few sectors. Even ILO hasn't done or hasn't specifically mentioned anything about mental health. Maybe they have started mentioning maybe during pandemic, but occupational health psychology is a complete different branch of industrial psychology, and that doesn't exist in India. So education institutions should start degrees in occupational health psychology. That's a sub branch of occupational psychology, or industrial psychology. And demand for occupational health psychology is really high across the world. I mean, you don't get people easily in occupational health psychology. So HR has a different job, recruitment, they have a salary to do, they have a performance appraisal, they have training to do. What organizational psychologists can do for an organization is taking care of, like I said, chief people officer or chief belief officer, or I have even heard chief heart officer. There's a lady in New York.
Chief happy manager also.
Chief happy officer, or yeah. So that is not part of HR. So HR, what I say, should support and without being threatened. We should not feel insecure or threatened of these kind of roles which are emerging after pandemic very fast. I am also seeing a lot of these job profiles circulating on internet, that chief people officer or chief happiness officer. So they are not HR. Okay, HR has a very set function which they should do. Without that, organization cannot run. And then there we have CSR, which is totally different. I don't know why they mix CSR and well-being in India. I haven't seen that.
That is what I'm surprised with various organizations. They are going with a number of activities and making the things that yes, yoga and all activity, there will be many more things are connecting. But CSR is entirely different aspect. But some organizations are just making the contribution doing that. They still, but rightly you pointed out, psychology or behavioral aspect in our country itself, in organization, is absolutely overlooked. And yet they have not understood the value of psychology or psychologists, as a business psychologist you may say, or industrial psychologist you may say. People are treating it as a secondary, and they are now, yes, rightly pointed out that what pandemic taught them, the value of human life, value of its own, you can see the own existence itself, and moreover, the mental health. So ma'am, can you, or would you like to say something related with the labor laws, which are basically made for our all employees, and new amendment in the labor laws taken place? So can you highlight some your aspects in that particular occupational health safety, whatever that law is amended with the 13 more major other law is included rather. So how do you look to that? Yes, ma'am, please.
So I have written a specific, separate chapter on the laws, labor laws.
Yeah.
So I have also, written about these new amendments, and nothing I could see anything for, mental health of employees.
Absolutely.
So ILO has prescribed occupational health safety measures for 4 sectors, including manufacturing, chemical, port, and I guess mining. Okay. Yes. And they are like draconian laws, like very old. And there is no amendment as such, and there is no provision for sector like IT. Then we have government sector, then we have banking, private banking, government banking. So there is no provision for all these sectors for physical safety, physical occupational safety, and no provision is there for emotional safety of employees or psychological safety of employees. And stress, like psychological stress, is the biggest, what you can say, killer of employees, biggest killer. You see maximum deaths because of heart attack, because of stroke, because of suicide, and that all happens because of work stress, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
So it's very strange, and I am also very kind of shocked that I now interact with this employee union from Maharashtra or from other states, and I just have to tell them that mental health is not schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Okay, it deals with your stress, daily stress. It deals with your addiction. Addiction is not a bad habit. We have to tell them. It deals with your emotions, because if you are having a bad emotion, that will impact your work productivity, of course, and overall work environment. Then your sleep, and then last is your ergonomics, the physical. So there are 5 major factors.
Yeah.
But you see any? I mean, you come from a very strong background of psychology and law and employee, well-being. Do you see any provision or any law to preserve all these things or improve these factors within employees, like even IT or non-IT, whatever? Even IT doesn't have anything. Doesn't have.
Rightly pointed out the trade union. Let me tell you one thing very, very important. In our country, trade union is not educated as they have to be. The thought of the trade union or the mentality of the trade union just to have the objection, blame over the organizational activity, but they are not well educated themselves how they will look the well-being or the welfare of the worker as well as the organization. If organizations survive, then they will survive. But on the other hand, the trade unions leaders need to give a proper thought and input. So as a writer, how you'd like to basically guide and help trade union people who would like to go with a proper thought process of well-being activity in their organization? Madam, can you focus on this?
So that's why my complete writing for, is in Marathi. So at least Maharashtra is being a progressive state. We have started many things, many things. So it was Mr. Narayan G. Lokhande who started the first holiday in late 80s, I guess, 1800. Yes. Yeah, so a century back, more than that. So I think we should start this kind of a employee welfare or employee well-being law in Maharashtra, so other states can also follow. And that's why I have specifically written. It was very difficult for me to write all those research findings from English language to Marathi, but I did because I want every person who is working in beauty parlor or somebody who is working in a hotel, they can read Marathi. So once they understand, specifically the labor union people, employee trade union people, once they understand what goes wrong and what happens here, when emotions are not handled properly, it affects whole body. And I guess this book should be read by all employee union people first, so they can tell and understand the whole human dynamic thing in a better way.
Ma'am, very nicely you just explain it about it, but a very, very genuine question which is related with the woman psychology. The workmen who are basically female, they are having a lot of problems in organization. Sexual harassment act is there, no doubt of it. But above all, ma'am, the things comes here when we are talking about the woman safety. So here, the woman is having, the lady is having a lot of stress. Stress is coming from her home, whatnot. Many more basically the areas and platforms to generate. So how do you look as a woman towards the woman psychology, that how she should basically be more stronger in days to come and more dynamic, ma'am? Yes, please. Can you have a thought on that, ma'am, please?
So there has to be strong effort from leadership side. Unless leader is convinced that of the organization, of the state, of the country, that I should make some positive changes. Like if you have read, Portugal, European country, has recently, created this rule or law, you can say, that when somebody is working from home, employer, if someone from employer side tries to contact employee after working hours, employer will have to pay the price.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a law. Okay, and there are many things like Japan has in the, I think March 2021 they introduced loneliness minister because the country works so hard that their suicide rate went up, and it's a different work culture for Japan. So at least in Maharashtra, because I can urge Maharashtra government and people who are in a leadership role that they should think about it and start it at some level, at least create awareness about it, because all of us mostly we spend 90,000 hours of our life at workplace, be it your business or be it your simple job. So if you are spending 90,000 hours of your life for one particular activity, imagine what kind of association and what kind of impact it leaves on your physical and emotional health. Okay, nobody talk about it. Nobody talk about it.
Absolutely. Because they are least bothered about that way. Rather, they are not aware of that. They are absence of that altogether. That is what they have to teach in that line, or they have to learn that right. Absolutely, fantastic, man. So going through this particular process, as we are talking about a number of aspects and areas. So, genuine feel always comes in that line. Today, there are youth and basically working all HR youth. Those are here today. Definitely, they will read your book, ma'am. But what you would like to tell them, what exercise they should do to understand the, entire happenings, to upgrade themselves as a forthcoming, such a quality HR with psychological aspects and psychological, upgrading themselves. So what kind of, the activity they should do? This is a very, generic question, but being here all young, basically the platform sharing personalities. So how do you like to share or to give the guidance to them, ma'am? Yes, please.
Go offline, maximum time. Reduce your online time and spend maximum time with your friends in offline mode. Do activities in offline mode, because that is what I see in my students. I used to teach for two years, almost 2 years I taught. And I have seen this pattern in younger generation, like 17, 18 to 23. And now they are working. Some of them are working in HR, as a completed industrial psychology. So they seriously do not understand, human dynamics, human emotions, because they are so used to this online platform. And online, just for your information, in online mode, our brain is not very comfortable because it is not evolved for online mode. The socialization process during evolution is for face-to-face interaction. We can read people only or we can form those connections, we can form those circuits, emotional circuit with other person only if we are working in face-to-face interaction. Here also, though I'm on a video mode, I am talking to my phone, since I'm using my phone, and you are talking to your laptop. We are not talking to each other because there is a barrier. I mean, we are not naturally connected with each other like nature wants us. Nature wants us to get connected with each other. This is not a natural evolutionary mode of connection. So this is very artificial, and that's why you have to go offline. Spend time offline. Try to understand people offline. Whatever people post on social media is not it's not true.
Honestly speaking, doctor, what I observed, the young generation is very, very panic one, and they get depressed immediately. So what kind of depression basically they get? Because there are a lot of things happening in and around, and they compare the things, they always, as rightly pointed out earlier, in IT sector especially, people used to be, getting the huge salary and used to buy the bungalows and the flats of crores and crores. But today, everything has been gone down within a fraction of a second because of the COVID, that everybody understands. So what do you talk about the depression of the youth of today and the HR, those who are working, various, organizations if their boss says something, they get depressed immediately. They're still not understanding the working nature and working culture. And even the bosses need to be changed, So how you look and basically talk about the depression, that how the both boss and the colleagues have to be handled. Yes, ma'am, please.
So for any country, the social structure and overall cultural dynamics, they impact workplace culture. So I'm proud Indian, yes, but yes, we have to improve. We have to improve so much, because I have worked with a different generation, like people who are born in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s also. And I have seen those, senior people are not ready to change. And these, generation I, those who are born after 1995, they are now, at entry level. So it's difficult for them, to get connect with these senior people. Some of them are good, like seniors, but most of them, they really don't understand the work dynamics, the cultural shift for this generation. And that was also one of my job duties in Siemens, that I used to try to bring people together from different generations. So this is very important. So it is not the shift or the change should come from seniors. Why should junior change? It has to be somebody who is senior, who is expected to be more understanding, who is expected to be more flexible, parent-like or friend-like person, senior friend. They should change. They should try to understand the younger generation. And of course, younger generation should also open up. And I always tell them, you're right. Why someone who is 45, 50 plus or 55 plus should write your thoughts? Those who are in like teenage, I have nephews who are 13, 14. I tell them, you should write and you should tell people that yes, we are different, and I think it should come from a senior generation, not from once they start understanding the dynamics, I think these people will feel more secure.
Absolutely. That means the conflict resolution, where you are bringing all together people to not to have a conflict in the future. So absolutely perfectly, you are doing the thing, you are putting the thought here that how we look towards industrial relations. As you know, this is the key area where today is skipping a lot because everyone is going with other activities of HR. But IR, this is the very, very important function where the psychologists are doing a lot of. So IR people should be a good psychologist because they're connected with the people, means their mind and together their mentality. So they are playing a key role. So ma'am, how do you basically look towards the industrial relation manager or IR people? Yet now this designation is not available there. Because HR is everything is now, clubbed in that line. So can you highlight towards this particular industrial relation activity, those who are doing executives or the senior people? Senior people are doing according to their concerned experiences, and altogether, I will not talk on that because our talk on the book. So kindly highlight through your book that how IR will be strengthened through your book, ma'am, please.
So please don't mind, but I have
no mind, don't worry.
I have seen very little changes in IR because I never work in IR. I never work in manufacturing industry. Okay. But I met some people in some HR conferences. But as you said, they should be emotionally aware, right? Okay. But I have seen people who are really, strong and, they are generally part of IR, aggressive. So why this trend? Why this trend? So they are not evolving properly.
Why it was there? Because of master and slave relationship earlier. Now that has brought the thing in that life of IR. Chalo, fatka maro, kaam karo.
Yes.
Had attitude. So we have to break that attitude. That's what I'm asking you, ma'am. That how we can make polite approach and all things. Yes, ma'am, please.
Read my book.
Yeah, I know that. Therefore, I'm asking you to just talk about through your book to the people. That is what my request is. Yeah, ma'am, please go ahead.
See, IR people should be more aware about human emotions, you know, because they handle emotion day in, day out. So they should be like HR, of course, like HR, but they generally end up in, you know, volatile situations, turbulent situation,
Yes.
like threatening situation.
Yes.
So they should be more aware about emotional management. Okay. And there should be a separate training, and IR should be a separate part. It should not mix with HR again. I don't know why it is happening, but IR, and I don't know why these, you know, this mentality that putting everything in HR, like IR should be with HR, psychology should be with HR, then what your CSR should be with HR. No, HR is different. I don't know why it is happening. Just because to save some bucks, these people are actually ruining many things. You know, they don't understand value of humans. You know, with them and working for them. Like the loss is very high. If you see numbers, they are written in my book. The loss due to stress, the loss due to accidents. You know, accidents is also is a kind of a sign that employees are under stress or they are not being treated well. So that cost is really high. So to just save, you can invest at some other places. No, you can. It's an investment.
True. So earlier there was a social welfare department in industries. So they were taking the care of CSR. Okay. Now the CSR itself is a work basically independent. Not it is just under the HR. So earlier there were social welfare department, then administration department. Again there is administration department. No use of that way. I can say HR and admin is the one. But when you're talking about this industrial relation, that's it independent. The gentleman used to be in the labor court every now and then. He has to only face the lawyer and he has to face the court. So the people who are basically working in the industry now, they used to look in a very strange manner towards the IR person because he's handling all labor laws and altogether labor cases, you know, suspension, you can say dismissals and whatnot. And especially what I observed in my basically working area also, when we sacked immediately within 400 people in the night. So immediately what happened, you know, altogether, the things were happened because of strike, a sudden strike because of Datta Saman. So when we found this all type of, you know, strange approach by the employee yet not, even today, employee in manufacturing industry also, or service industry, forget about that. I'm not talking about the service industry. I'm talking about manufacturing. Even IT, it is not at all there. IR is such. Not even existing the IR is there. So it is talking about the well-being activity and all together happiness manager they are doing. But when I'm talking about the manufacturing industry, IR is playing a vital role. And what I feel personally, that these people should be given a proper treatment to understand the psychology in an appropriate manner. And the IR should be the psychologist. That is what I believe. Having the knowledge of law, no, definitely, there is a combo impact of that way. So moral rearmament in a Panchagani, where I'm a facilitator, madam, and we are doing this all activity since around 40 plus years, where we are helping the people, making this all, you know, trade union, all problem makers, no, organization used to send them to MRA, and we are used to give the, you know, moral boosting and all. It is a temporary, but again, the man comes in the same environment. So what do you talk about the, you know, effect or what are the factors that affecting on employee mental health in various occupations? Yes, ma'am, please.
So this is a leadership flaw. I see people are very slow, you know, very slow in adopting new things, including technology or research-based science, you know, behavior. I'll tell you, in last 10 years, this psychology has changed so much because of the tremendous research in neuroscience. You know, they have discovered mirror neurons also.
Yeah.
They have discovered mirror neurons and they call it Gandhi neurons because of, you know, tribute to Mahatma Gandhi.
Correct.
But that we are, and we don't use research. We don't, implement research very fast. Even I am surprised that my book is like, I'm happy that it is getting received, but people, how come cannot someone do not think about this important, you know, part where people are dying, and they are dying because of overwork, they are dying because of conflicts at work, they are dying because of they are getting sacked at work. So why not improve workplaces? And there are so many, techniques, research, so many things which are available. And IT itself, it's an advanced industry, and it is still slow in implementing these changes. I still don't understand. I mean, I try to, I speak, I write, but it is very difficult to make these people understand that you have to change, and you have to change very fast.
Very true. So rightly pointed out, and my question was there, and you answered very nicely. Do you agree that industrial psychology is also performing research to create awareness among the employer and employee, but still employers are not that much serious as they needed to be? I hope you answered the question. That was the beauty, that the way you explained. So very, very important thing is that when we're coming together with the union, just I'm coming back again, union. So you as a writer, what you would like to talk today with our HR forum, because they are dealing with negotiations and everything. So every time the demands goes in a high, every time they are coming with a new thoughts in that line. So this imbalanced thinking process of the trade union, that how the HR has to mold and altogether to go in hand with the industrial peace activity, because psychology is playing a fantastic role in every area of the peace, because unless the mind is not stable, the proper mental health is not there, the things will not happen in that line. So from your perspective, ma'am, can you brief and can you summarize the thought process of you towards total industrial peace, harmony through our book perspective, madam? Yes, please.
So since everyone here are experts and leaders from their own respective field, I I request you to take this whatever learning or whatever you have received in any form from this discussion to your organization. Okay, at least share, at least try to ignite some spark, and try to ask questions that why this is not happening in my organization. Okay, I am from my side, yes, I'm trying my best to reach out to people, key people, where I can suggest that so this is a gap, you should, and it should come from the top, it should come from the government itself. At our level, at organization level, we can do few things, but it is very difficult. The most difficult thing is to change a human being, specifically a full grown human being. And generally what happens in organization, whenever these changes are being made, like any kind of change, salary or anything, they want people accept is like this, बस उसने हमने बोल दिया तो उसने सुनना चाहिए. That does not happen with human being. When you work with humans, they are not only skill set, they are their emotions, they are their cognition. Okay, and HR and leadership must understand that treating, you have to accept emotion, human emotion, and you should also know the way to deal with employee emotion. How you can do that? Hire psychologists, hire more organizational psychologists, create positions for them. Just like I had an opportunity with Siemens, that's why I am, speaking in front of all of you people, because somebody gave me opportunity. Please employ more psychologists, even in IR. IR should be upgraded. I mean, whatever I see, and see, there is a big danger here, which people are not, not serious about. AI. AI
Yes.
is coming very fast, and
Absolutely.
if we don't change, and we have to customize the change. I mean, we cannot copy paste what America is doing, what Europe is doing. We are 140 crore people. We have our own challenges and we have our own strengths. So leaders must understand, they must understand the urgency of situation. मला असं कधी कधी वाटतं का रे तुला कळत कसं नाही, म्हणजे असं सांगायचं वाटतं रे तुम्हाला कळत कसं नाही, इतकं की इतकं होतंय आजूबाजूला, and you have to change very fast.
Yes.
So you people can take this message to your respective organization, to the influential people, you can just tell them, this is coming. Because see, once AI is powerful, once AI will overpower us, it will be difficult to make changes. It's better if we start now, start doing something, because we are not superpower, we are not, and we have kind of like human development index. It's there in my book also. We are literally at 139 in the list of 149 countries. Okay, we were in 2013 at 111 position in UN Happiness Index, we are currently at 138 or 139 in the list of again 149, 150 countries. We are going down, and we have to accept that. And AI is also coming. So whatever changes we have to make, we have to show urgency, we have to show responsibility in making those decisions, and we don't have any option. So it's coming. So I think I can warn, I can warn people, at least as somebody who is studying this subject for a very long time. I have to warn you, and it is not going to basically किसी को बख्शने वाला नहीं है वो.
Artificial intelligence is going to kill everyone, honestly speaking, because everything is auto mode now. Yeah, you need not to think whatever apps. What are apps? Apps are nothing, but that is what the things are happening, because we're reducing the manpower, we're reducing the things, because that is talking technology. So technology, the word which basically is a buzzword, not today, but it's a needy word, because yes, we have to upgrade, we have to, we have to gear up in that perspective. But today, for war, especially for the defense, yes, artificial intelligence is a fantastic one, and it is a needed for our country, no doubt of it. But yes, ma'am, now when you're talking about this all perspective, now I request all our members here, those are on the platform, if you have any doubt, if you have any question, we are here free to ask you whatever you feel, innerly, that yes, I must ask question to Dr. Raut ma'am, and definitely ma'am is there to answer your questions, or you want to share something, your own experiences, how this is going to be there. And I really, happy to say that today the book of her, especially, Kamgarache Manasik Arogya, is a fantastic book, is on the platform of with a particular OHR, where inaugural things is going to take in place in a different manner, as we have interviewed her. And now I very honestly, Prashant is there, also Sachin is there, and many more other trust members are here. Definitely they will also share their views on this particular part. But before that, I would like to request the participant to have your questions to our Raut madam. Yes, dice is open for everybody. Skriti, you can take the things in that further. I'm here, don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please unmute and please ask the question. Will it be okay, no, doctor?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Please.
Yeah. Please feel free, friends, because time has also permitted in that line. So we are also connected with the time management in a proper manner. Yes, please go ahead. Yes, Sachin, would you like to have a question, or would you like to share something?
Yeah. So, Dr. Vishali, thanks for this, your talk with Dr. Moite. One question for you, like when you are writing this book, and already I think sir had asked this question, but what is one thing which you would like to, to us as a HR fraternity or IR, HR and IR, we are dealing with workers, and very aptly the title is what it suggests. What is one thing you would like to tell us? Just one takeaway that we should take from this entire session.
One, it's very difficult, but I would say, respect people, and be careful about them.
Yes.
Be careful about
empathy.
them.
Empathy, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Empathy. That's one thing, because see, the big picture is what I trying to connect the dots here. If you can, if you read my book, you will understand that I have given some statistics, some health statistics about India. So when you talk about HR, when you need some good employees, what if your country is poor, malnutrition is high, and so there are health issues, addiction is high, okay, and how do you expect these people who are not having proper physical health or even mental health, social unrest is there, would you expect them to come to your organization and work in kind of isolation where they have to keep their emotions and all those difficulties outside the work premises and come inside and forget everything. That is not possible. Okay, so you are very much connected to society, public health index of India, of course, and of course to the global level also, which includes pollution, the climate change part, you know. So so please try to see the big picture here. So if we don't invest in public health, our HR will suffer. How will you see, from my generation, who are like born in 80, 81, 82, we never had these kind of issues. What people who are like in their teenage or in their 20s, we never had a Facebook. We never had deal with. I have students who are like 18 or 70s. They are taking antidepressant. They are facing PCOS or PCOD or hormonal thyroid issues. We never had them. We were healthy people. Generations before us were better than us. Okay, in terms of health. Now that is not the case, and mental health issues, they interfere with your productivity. Physical health issues interfere with your productivity. People cannot concentrate if they are having bad emotions in a day. I'm having somebody who is addicted. Somebody is having something at home. So whole this picture. So I am not मी घाबरवत नाहीये तुम्हाला, पण this is a warning. Please try to take it seriously.
Thank you, Dr.
I hope you understand. I hope you understand.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks.
Any other questions we have?
Yeah, madam, one question from my side. I don't know whether that is addressed during this discussion. Whether your book is giving any recommendation or suggestions to government or companies, or I will say HR manager, because not all companies will afford to have separate budget to have psychologist in their department. So then how IR manager or HR manager they will cope up with
you are
all
cutting
this.
directly here the recruitment of the psychologist.
Not like that, but big companies
that is
they
fact.
will.
So that is fact. That is
a fact. That is a fact. I agree.
Big companies they will definitely will have this department.
Yeah, you can hire us. No, you can hire our services. Ruchali is there. Myself is there. Don't worry.
Yeah, that is there. But how HR manager will cope up, or what will government should play a role in this?
Yeah.
Because due to this COVID, now mental health become a buzzword now.
Right. Yeah.
Whether your book is addressing that.
Yes. I have given some suggestion, and specifically to government, because no matter what kind of money you invest, I mean, I'm talking about any organization, in your well-being program, unless the laws are in place, unless people feel secure, that they will not kicked out, or even if they kicked out, they will get some help from the organization itself for their rehabilitation. Like if somebody is getting pink slip, so there should be a provision, which I have written in my book, that organization can take care of employees' future job opportunity. They can help employee to find a job. That happens with foreign organization, I mean, in foreign countries. And it doesn't take a lot of money, a lot of investment. And the returns are really high, frankly. Returns are really high. So I have given recommendation to government, state government. I have given recommendation to leaders as well as to HR people also. They are there.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes.
कारण सर कसं आहे माहितीये का, हे ना वरतून बँडेड लावल्यासारखं होतं नेहमी. आपण जेव्हा हे करतो ना, मी जेवढं बघते लोकांचं, so if you see, if there is an organization, XYZ organization, IT, they have well-being manager in the countries like South Africa also, but they don't make it compulsory for India. Why? Even people are responsible. People don't take it. I had faced so much rejection in Siemens, My manager was so supportive, I could sustain, but it was really difficult. People are very resistant about mental health in India. That's the fact, that they don't want then an organizational psychologist, any kind of psychologist in the workplace. Me pagal aho ka, me mad aho ka, asa त्यांचा approach असतो. So that has to change. So employees should also think about it. It's not about HR. That is not a total responsibility of management. Management are ready to spend. Are employees ready? Are they careful about their own health, including physical health? Right?
True.
So I have written that also, that they should also take care of their daily health,
Yeah.
you know, for longer long-term benefits.
Yes, Aniket, would you like to have any question? Mr. Aniket?
Yes, Dr. Raut, thank you very much for your insight on the topic. I just want to understand that when we hire workers, they are at almost 18 or 19 years of age, and they gradually develop their mentality in the company. So, as you said, how we can restrict or how we can prevent these young generation becoming the rigid one like earlier unionized people also are there.
So I'm sure they will not become rigid because they have a different exposure. You know, they are Harry Potter generation, so they are quite flexible and, you know, open for changes. They will not become, but they will leave organization if they see no growth, if they see they are not comfortable with the work environment. So it has to be organization who needs to change. You know, be flexible, be open, inclusive. Because these people are very different, and do watch Harry Potter for them, at least to understand them. All the movies of Harry Potter and books also.
Yeah.
Does that answer my question?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Sham has raised the hand. Yes, please, Sham. Then Mr. Deepak. Yeah, Mr. Sham.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I'm Sham here, Sham Shishode.
Yeah, Shishode, sir. Please go ahead.
I'm from MKTron Talegaon. I'm heading the HR department. Regarding the human psychology or the workman psychology in the concern, I have the practical experience about the various type of psychological people, or we can say mindset people. We have two type of train, like old generation. Those of, especially in the workmen, those who are having experiences more than 20 years, they are working with us, having the handsome salary. It's around 70K, they are getting the monthly salary. Vice versa, we have many of quality or competent people. They're working like as a, what we say, supervisors, engineers, and the section head. But now the things is, the new generation, they are very passionate and they are very aggressive in the terms of getting the things done, or what are the desire management. They are very passionate to achieve the 100%. But vice versa, they are getting opposed from the old people to achieve the targets or achieve the whatever the decision management by the management. In that case, we are struggling to get the output from the workmen as well as the supervisory people. So how we can work out, or how we can make a plan to get the things from the change the mindset of old people and get the things done from the new people.
So I was just answering the same question before you, and they are also asking to change. So change in full grown human is definitely not easy. It is not easy.
Yeah.
It is not easy. So what you can do, you can just reduce the gap. You can just do some sensitization or activity where you can bring people together from various generations. And see, even I won't change if somebody who is like, a 60-year-old person and tells me something. I won't change. Why would I change? So it's understanding that has to be developed. You cannot change people, frankly, because see, you must be having children, right? And you must be having conflicts with them.
Right.
But do you try to change them? You love them because they are your children.
Right.
So it is difficult for anyone to change immediately.
Right.
So why psychologists are required in workplace, specifically work psychologists, that they understand these human. See, most people even don't know what we study. So we study general subjects like clinical psychologists, like we study brain, how brain functions, how cognition is there, how emotions are there. And in second year, we study all management subjects like consumer psychology, organizational psychology. So we are trained in workplace behavior, various kind of workplace behavior, including organizational communication, organizational development, behavior, psychometric assessment, all those things. My topic, which I have picked up, is one of those points we study at the PG level or UG level. So that's why we need more psychologists who have understanding of workplace behavior, workplace human behavior. Only HR mindset, like typical management or MSW, or they are trained in processes. They processes can be changed. They are not humans. Machines can be changed, they can be upgraded, but is it possible with humans? That you need behavior expert. So
So one thing I want to ask you in the regards of the psychological point of view, do you have any training modules to have for the workmen to check this mindset and change the mindset, or any kind of attitude test?
So there are various assessments are available. There are various training modules from organizational psychology which are available. And but the only challenge here is it's like you have to accept that psychologists can create some difference. They are intelligent enough, like management people. They have some techniques like management people, and they can come to your workplace and do something which is for the betterment of workplace. So we have, and I have not mentioned that, but organizational psychology is mother of HR in India. Dr. T.V. Rao and Dr. Uday Parikh. These are two professors from IIM Ahmedabad, organizational behavior professor. They started first HR department in L&T.
Yes.
In 1972, I guess.
Right.
Yes.
Then HR started in India. Then SBI, I guess they started in SBI. So I think you should be open for for psychologists to come to your workplace and do some training.
Very true. Very true. Mr. Rao is a friend of mine. I'm very happy to tell you because he used to meet. I used to be where I am, Ahmedabad, also a number of times. Thank you, Sham. I hope you got the answer. Mr. Deepak, you had a question. Yes, Deepak, you please raise your question.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Moite, sir. Thank you, Rushalima, for a wonderful session. Ma'am, I just want to know your views on working from home. As we all know that this is a hybrid work culture, right? So is there any psychological effect of working from home, this concept? If yes, what are the, what we can do for that?
So this is again very important question. I guess we, forgot to discuss about this. So work from home model is very common in IT, specifically in foreign countries. What happens in work from home? Again, as I mentioned earlier, that we are not very, we are not evolved for this kind of interaction, and that's why we cannot make bonds, natural human bonding, when we work online. Okay, it's very dry relationship we develop with machines, and employers are getting benefited from it, because somebody quoted me, some journalist from Maharashtra Times, she quoted me on this hybrid model and work from home structure also. And in India, like I'm sitting in my flat, it's like 900 square feet, and max to max it can go up to 1200 square feet. When you have 5 to 6 people who are in your home and you're working from home, so I'm talking about logistic difficulties. Okay, we don't have bandwidth or network coverage like we have in foreign countries. Okay, these are some challenges in Indian household. Okay, so and then I have already told you about the communication part. So job is not only for money. Job also satisfies our social needs. We go to office, we make new friends, we satisfy our social needs. We do so many activities when on the job. We create our new friends. So basically, social need doesn't get satisfied when you're working from home. There are many who are supporting working from home, but they don't understand the long-term impact, bad effects of work from home. You will eventually lose your social skills if you continuously work in this mode. Like you feel safe, frankly. You don't have to face people. You don't have to confront people. So you are behind screen and you are safe. So eventually you will lose your ability to deal with different different human situation, including difficult situations. Are you getting my point, what I'm trying to say in work from home?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
ये किसी को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है and people are pushing work from home like anything. It's okay when situation is really dangerous, but if you can follow the hybrid work model where you can, on rotation, you can bring people, and, meet your colleagues at least once in a week or, once in 2 weeks, something like that, you will have some bonding. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are right, ma'am. Fantastic. Yeah. Over to Skruti. According to your plan, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for those wonderful answers. Health is wealth, we all know, but specifically, we only focus on the physical health and ignore the mental health, which shouldn't be the case. So, all the best for your book, ma'am. And I request Prashant, sir, to please come over for the vote of thanks.
Sachin?
Sachin is not there.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Dr.
Switch on your video.
Yeah, video? Oh.
Yeah, video. Yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Urshali Raut. Long back, 3-4 years ago, we met and I have listened to you. That time only I thought that you are going to do some different contribution. And today is that day that you have done noble work for whole HR fraternity. Because there are many less books available on mental health and you are directly from that industry. Though you are from IT industry, but you come up with this beautiful book. And we tried to showcase on this today's platform. So thanks for that. And thanks to Dr. Mohite also. When I was speaking with Dr. Raut how to do this session online due to this COVID. So we thought that we'll make this interactive. And then first name came in front of me that your name only. Dr. Mohite is the right person to give justice. So it will be more interactive. So thanks for that. Thanks both of you that you accepted OHR Foundation's invitation. And what else? Thanks to our young and dynamic road-tractor, Sukriti. Yeah, she is very wonderful in coordinating all these sessions. This is her second session for OHR. Okay, thanks to all participants.
So I think so, Prashant, you declare that the book is now
available on all. Now I think Dr. Raut should say that available on online.
Even I will show.
Yeah.
The book is available on Book Ganga.
Book Ganga.
Yes, it is available on Book Ganga. In their shop also, it is available on one of the sites of Diamond Publication also. And of course, you can always contact me, to purchase the book. And if you are in Pune, you can also meet me. More than
Doctor,
happy.
I will suggest that we are going to celebrate 8th anniversary of OHR offline on
Yes.
12 December. So you can showcase your books at that time.
That will be
Because this
nice.
time we are going to call a booklet boy. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Sure.
we are expecting about around 150 to 100 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So just today only we have a book that Wadia College auditorium.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can have your books over there.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is a wonderful discussion. Thank
Needless
you,
to say
Prashant.
that you will be there. You are.
Yes.
Yeah.
He will be there. Yeah.
Okay then.
So,
Thanks.
thank you.
All.
Nice, everyone.
Thanks again.
Smriti,
Yeah.
thank you for coordinating. Wonderful. Yeah. We'll be keep meeting because Prashant already told you. Many more things are going to. Raut, absolutely fantastic thought. And also
Thank you.
Aniket and the rest of the people who asked question very nicely. Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye-bye. Have a nice time.
Okay.
Thank you. Happy
Bye.
Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy
So thank you, Prashant.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for patiently coordinating with us.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye all.
Thank you.